Hello Wargamers and welcome to another Wargame Red Dragon video with me, Bubblebox, and today we're going to be having a look at the USA Airborne deck. This is going to be part of a series I'm going to just trialing at the moment called Deck and Build, in which I'm going to build a deck first of all. It's not going to be a long video, maybe 10 minutes or a little bit longer perhaps sometimes, and then we're going to follow it up with a gameplay using that deck. And what I want from you guys is ideas for decks. So in the comments below, I want you to give me some ideas of some types of decks you would like me to try and build or to build and to try out in games, and I'll post those decks and also at least one gameplay from each of the decks, and we'll be posting the video and then probably the next day post the gameplay. Remember, these decks are for multiplayer games mainly. For the casual type of player, maybe 3v3s, 4v4s, and of course mostly 10v10s I expect. So let's head off and do the US Airborne deck first of all. So, and I'll have a talk about the pros and cons of the US Airborne deck at the end. First of all, we've got a fob, and I've got plenty of supply. Remember, we might be using this in 10v10, so we've got two of the we've basically got 3 choppers full of logistics, 2 of the super stallions and 1 super chinook, and I've only got 1 command. I'm not going to be bothered too much about capturing zones, a lot of zones with this particular deck, even in 10v10s, but I do want flexibility. So we've got the infantry squads in the Hueys. Yeah. And then infantry-wise, a whole bunch of infantry you can get in the Airborne decks, of course. And we're going to start off with the Light Rifleman. Got the Light Rifleman 90s, just for a bit of ATGM support in case we have to do battle for a town anywhere at any time in any of the games. And then we've got the Delta Force. These really nice all-round special forces crews. Just had upgraded ATGM, I believe. Now got the Carl Gustav, yeah. Coming in Chinooks, really can be decent, you know, through forests, town fighting, just a good all-rounder unit. Quite expensive at 30, but a good all-rounder unit. And of course, they are elite trained and come in, I believe, as veterans as well. Then there's our standard rifleman. We've got our standard line infantry. We've got the Rifleman 90s. And we've got 3 stacks of those, again, in case we get embroiled in a town fight. And we've got them in Black Hawks and in Hueys as well. Nice and cheap infantry, or fairly cheap infantry. And then we've got 2 sets of man pads, some Lad Stinger Cs with a decent helicopter range of 2,275, but a very good accuracy of 70%. So you really only have to bring these in singles rather than in doubles to ensure you get hits and kills maybe with these things. If you bring them in duplicate, you're probably guaranteed a kill. Support-wise, very poor for the Airborne, USA Airborne. And this is one of the downsides of this deck. You do have to rely a lot on your air superiority fighters to help you out against enemy aircraft. So you have to be kind of on the ball with your aircraft. The Avengers, nothing to... Well, they are quite good up close, of course, and they fire very fast and have a very, very good accuracy, but they've got to get up close to start with, and no good against aircraft, of course. Tanks... very poor again for USA Airborne, as you might expect, but they've got Sheridans. These guys have got a decent, I would say, defensive ATGM weapon in the Shilelag C. With the main thing about this is it's got a good range, so it can get shots off before the enemy gets shots off on you if they're sat in a nice defensive position. But they do also have a main gun, which is almost more like an artillery kind of weapon, which shoots 5 HE. And there aren't many tanks in this game that shoot 5 HE. So if you can get these up and close supporting your infantry, they will, well, they'll pummel enemy infantry with a range as well of 1,925, an often overlooked little unit for just 35 points. And I've got some M8 AGSs just because I needed to spend the extra points. I doubt I'll use these, although they're not terrible. 55 points. They've got a decent accuracy and stabilizer and an okay AP power as well. It's just the armor really lets these guys down, but a decent-ish gun for 55 points. Reconnaissance-wise, they've got some decent recon in the Airborne, as you might expect, with, first of all, of course, the longbows with the fantastic Hellfire missiles that fire so fast. We all know about those. I've also got the AH-1J Cobras as well. Will chew up infantry and lightly armoured vehicles and even lightly armoured tanks as well with their rocket pods. And then we've got the Navy SEALs in the Brogs. Again, decent, very good against infantry because they've got the rocket launchers and the close quarters combat machine gun elite trained as well, and veterans. So very nice infantry recon unit. Not many of them though, only get 4, but very nice if you come up against any infantry while you're out and scouting around. Vehicles, nothing to show home, nothing amazing, just the Humvee Tow 2, now 10 hit points of course, so can take a hit, but yeah, probably won't use that too much. But then we get into the two sectors that we're really interested in, the helicopters and the aircraft. Have a look at the helicopters first. Of course, we've got 2 stacks of the Super Cobras loaded up now, of course, with the sidearm missile. Fires seed missiles now, not AA missiles. Try to remember that. People are making that mistake in game, I find. But got the seed missile now instead of the AA, and then for the AA though, we've got the old OHs. Good old OHs, not the best in the world, but they are only 40 points and you can get a lot of them. But they're a bit squishy at a strength of 4. So yeah, that's will help our AA defences, considering we've only got the little Avengers, and then we have to rely on our aircraft. We'll have a look at it in a moment. We've got some Apaches. Again, a secondary aircraft to bring out, really. It's got the Hellfires, but then why not just bring out, if we want some recon as well, we'll bring out the longbows first probably before we bring out the Apaches. And the rest of the choppers are really spam choppers for end of game killing and in case you want to fly over a zone. And also they can help with fire support if there's not a lot of anti-helicopter support. We've got the cheap heavy hogs. These are quite cheap, but they haven't got a lot of ammo. They tend to run out really quite fast and really only good for spamming, I find. Strength of only 4 as well. So we've got 2 stacks of heavy hogs, which gives us actually 70 heavy hogs, and then a whole bunch of AH-1S Cobras as well with their rocket pods, which can chew through anything that's lightly armoured and infantry. Aircraft, this is the one we're really interested in. Of course, save the best till last, because this is what makes this deck really fun to play, is its aircraft. All, of course, extremely expensive, high-tech, high-end aircraft. Got the 2 Tomcats, first of all. The Interceptor can sit right back and just bring them in. You don't have to have them on the map to start with. You can just bring them in from the spawn point to intercept aircraft. And then to go along with these, we've got the Block 52s, the F-15-16C Block 52s with the AMRAAMs, very accurate. I find them almost more accurate in game than it actually says there. They always seem to hit to me, or nearly always. Really nice aircraft, very expensive and very survivable as well, with an ECM of 40. And then we've got the Raven to try to clear seed. Now I thought about getting 2 seed aircraft rather than just 1, because if you lose your Raven you're a little bit stuck, so you might want to swap this out for one of the bombers maybe. I don't know what you think. Let me know about that in the comments below. I'm still tempted to swap this out for maybe to get some more seed aircraft in the deck. But then we have got the bombers. Now, one bomber you won't do without, of course, is the Nighthawk. With its stealth, it can get in and out without getting shot down, hopefully. Yeah, hopefully just be very careful with it. And then the Eagle, you do need to have the air defences down when you fly your Eagle over the enemy, because the rest of these bombers, of course, do have to fly right up and over the enemy to drop their payload. But this drops 4 1,000 kilogram bombs, absolutely devastating. And then we've got the Aardvark as well, another big bomber with 12 340 kilogram bombs. And this is the one I'd probably swap out for another seed aircraft if I wanted another seed aircraft in my deck. And then finally, we've got the 2 Phantom 2s. I just like these from the days of playing Airland Battle, really. They just drop a nice spread, really nice spread of napalm in a line, and if brought in from the right angle, can cause a lot of suppression for your allies that are trying to move up into a particular area. They are a little bit squishy though, so you've got to make sure not fly these over enemy AA, because they're just going to get shot down. So that is the brilliant selection of aircraft that the USA deck's got. Now, in case I end up on some map with ships, of course, we've got the 2 main anti-ship warfare planes that everyone gets, a couple of LCUs and a couple more Tomcats. So that's it. That's the USA Airborne deck. It is difficult to use in a way that you have to be quite patient. Get your big planes out and be patient with them. Don't rush them into battle and get them lost early on in the game. Make sure you use them well. You've got all your choppers in case you need to spam choppers, and you've got some nice infantry to take towns, maybe at the start of a game, or maybe to take areas during the game, sneak behind enemy lines, that sort of thing. What lets you down, you haven't got much, well, you haven't got any artillery at all, of course, in an airborne deck, and you've got quite poor AA apart from your air superiority fighters. So that's it. That's my USA airborne deck. Again, let me know in the comments below what you think about this deck. If there's anything I've missed that I really should maybe be taking, especially that seed or get rid of one of the bombers issue in the aircraft tab. And let me know in the comments below also any decks you'd like me to try out. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.